Hello and welcome to News Now on TV360. I'm Thelma Okoro. The Nigerian army has confirmed the death of 3 soldiers killed during a clash with Islamic sect Boko Haram. Army spokesperson Sani Usman in a statement said the clash occurred in different parts of Damboa local government area, northeast Nigeria. 5 soldiers were also wounded in that clash. However, several members of the insurgents were killed in the battle, while arms and ammunition were recovered from them. Gunmen have attacked a United Nations monitoring team at the Nigerian-Cameroon border, killing 5 people. 3 Nigerians were among those killed, a UN statement said on Thursday. The UN strongly condemned the attack and called on Nigeria and Cameroon to take swift actions to bring the perpetrators to justice. While the attackers have not been identified, the area is within a region where fighters from Islamic sect Boko Haram are active. A Nigerian army tribunal sitting in Borno State, northeast Nigeria, sentenced one of its soldiers to 7 years imprisonment for the killing of a civilian. Hassan Adamu, a lance corporal, was found guilty of killing a man identified as Umar Alka following a disagreement at the Monday market in Maiduguri in 2015. In his ruling, the president of the court, Brigadier General Olusegun Adeniyi, said the convict has been found guilty of manslaughter and, as a result, will serve a 7-year prison sentence. Witnesses who testified in the proceedings told the tribunal that the deceased died on the spot after Adamu shot him. Minister of State for Aviation Hadi Sarika has inaugurated the Security Subcommittee for Movement of Passengers between Abuja and Kaduna during the 6-week closure of the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport. The minister urged the committee to ensure that security is watertight for the massive movement of passengers, cargoes and other logistics to and from Kaduna State.
The major functions of this important committee, as it were, it's number 1, to provide security at the Abuja and Kaduna airport, including air and rail transportation, of course, and road. To also monitor traffic movement from Abuja to Kaduna airport and vice versa. Of course, inclusive of the road that links the 2 junctions in Kaduna and up to the airport, i.e. Nnamdi Azikiwe Road, known as Western Bypass in Kaduna locally, and of course the Mando Airport Road as well. To also provide security to passengers and cargo between Abuja and Kaduna Airport and vice versa. And of course, any other duty incidental to these functions. The membership of this committee, as I said, it's a high end of security personnel. The Nigeria Police Force will chair this committee. The Director of Safety and Technical Policy of the Ministry will be the Vice Chairman. Office of National Security Advisor as member. Office of the Honorable Minister of State, Aviation, member. Department of State Security Services, member. Nigerian Air Force, member. The Nigerian Army, member. Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, member. Nigeria Customs Service, member. Nigeria Immigration Service, member. Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria Aviation Security AFSEC, member. Department of Air Transportation, member. And NDLEA, member.
Hadi Sirika there giving updates on the Abuja airport closure. Now, the Nigerian Customs Service says 2 officers declared wanted in connection with the 661 pump-action rifles recovered in Lagos State have surrendered to authorities. The suspect, Abdullahi I, with service number 44483, ASC, and Odiba Haruna Ina with service number 133386 ACIC submitted themselves on Wednesday evening. Meanwhile, another officer, Yola Ibrahim, has been declared wanted in connection with the importation of the rifles. Hamid Ali, the Comptroller General of the Customs, has vowed that the officials who cleared the firearms will be dealt with in accordance with the law. Lagos State Police Commissioner Fatai Owosheni says a protest led by Nigerian singer Two-Face Idibia may not be allowed to hold on February 6, 2017. He says he has received information that the protest may turn violent and must be stopped. The protest against the Nigerian government has generated lots of mixed reactions since it was announced. Two-Face Idibia, an award-winning musician in Nigeria, has defended his planned protest against the Nigerian government. He says the current state of the Nigerian economy and the growing poverty rate in the country is among the reasons he has decided to embark on the protest. Lagos State Governor Akinwumi Ambode has signed the anti-kidnapping bill recently passed by the Lagos State House of Assembly into law. The law imposes a penalty of life imprisonment on kidnapping for ransom. The law also stipulates that where a victim dies in the course of a kidnap, the suspect is liable on conviction of death. Ambode noted that the law had become imperative following the growing number of kidnap cases recorded in Lagos State.
In recent times, kidnapping has become a major threat to the safety of citizens and therefore required decisive action by the government. This law imposes a penalty of life imprisonment for kidnapping for ransom. The law stipulates that where a victim dies in the course of a kidnap, the suspect is liable on conviction to death. Security is of utmost importance to our administration, and we're confident that this law will serve as a deterrent to anybody who may desire to engage in this wicked act within the boundaries of Lagos State. Our justice system will be required to execute this law to the letter and make sure that any criminal caught faces the full wrath of the law. While we use this law to address the challenge of kidnapping and punish the criminals, we're also putting in place appropriate measures, particularly in our schools and other vulnerable targets, to prevent security breaches.
Nigeria has rejected a proposed plan for African countries to quit the International Criminal Court, the ICC. The country on Wednesday, opposed the withdrawal at the just concluded summit of the African Union in Ethiopia. The African Union, after the vote, called for the mass withdrawal of member states from the ICC. However, that resolution is non-binding due to Nigeria and Senegal opposing the withdrawal. The transmission company of Nigeria says the country's wheeling capacity will increase from 6,500 megawatts to 7,200 megawatts by the end of 2017. According to TCN Chief Executive Officer Abubakar Atiku, the increase would come from the completion of outstanding projects funded in 2016 and new projects. Speaking further, the TCN chief criticized the drop of payment for TCN services in the market from 55% to 30% in the past few years.
The major challenge confronting TCN is the problem of liquidity in the electricity market. Payment to TCN services in the market has gone down from 55% to 30% in the recent, and with that, funding coming to TCN in the form of revenue has also reduced. It will interest you to note that TCN is being paid an average of 33% of our total invoice sent to the market operator between January and September 2016, which was further reduced to 27% in the month of November 2016. The poor return on invoices has negatively affected our operations and development of the national grid. So far, the market owes TCN close to 100 billion naira as arrears of wheeling charges revenue. We are working hard to ensure to the completion of the outstanding critical projects funded in 2016 budget and hopefully to be funded this year. Those targeted for completion includes rehabilitation of APAM 1 by 150 MVA transformer at 330, 132, and 33 kV level, and construction of APAM 4 and APAM 1, 132 kV transmission line, which are put at 95% completion. The Katsina Daura 132 kV line and 2 by 60 MVA substation at Daura, which is 90% completed, is also to be commissioned this year. Kapanchan 2 by 60 MVA substation project, presently at 92% completion, is earmarked for completion too. We also have 1 by 150 MVA transformer, 132 by 33 kV, and 2 by 60 MVA 132 by 33 substation in Maiduguri, which is 85% completed, will be commissioned this year. Oshobo Ede 132 kV direct double cycle transmission line is at 95% completion. It will be commissioned this year. Kano Jos 330 kV double cycle transmission line is at 75% completion. We will also ensure that it is completed. Benin North to Oshobo 330 kV double cycle transmission line, which is at 48% completion. We'll make sure we have commissioned it this year. Eurocan Omotosho 330 kV double cycle transmission line, which is at 24% completion, is also targeted for this year. There is 1 by 150 MVA 330 by 132 kV and a 60 MVA 132 by 33 kV substation at Damaturu, put at 92% completion, will also be commissioned this year.
The Inspector General of Police, Ibrahim Idris, has called for a review of the budget allowance of the Nigerian police force. He made the appeal at a meeting with members of the House of Representatives Committee on Police Affairs at the force headquarters in Abuja, Nigeria's capital.
From the table, it can be seen that allocations to the force is grossly inadequate, despite the increasing security challenges it has to contend with. Furthermore, it will be observed that in 2016, only 25% of the appropriated funds was actually released, leaving a whooping sum of 12,080,454 not released as of 31st December 2016. The amount released and cash backs in September 2016 is being utilized for the payment of completed and ongoing projects. As earlier revealed, out of the 16,107,272 appropriated for capital projects, only the sum of 4 billion, that's 25%, was released and cash backed by the end of the year 2016. The non-release of appropriated capital budget was inhibited this force from accomplishing the set objective of providing necessary tools and infrastructures for the enhancement of its operational capacity and capability. Arising from the above, budget planning and execution have been rendered difficult as the release of appropriated funds cannot be guaranteed.
We are here to perform the annual rituals, which is a replica of what you do here as police. We are here to police your activities as legislators and lawmakers, to make sure that square peg is placed in a square hole. That's simply what we're here to do. And to also, on behalf of the National Assembly and the Committee on Police Affairs, reassure you and reaffirm to you our commitment to support you as the Chief Law Enforcement Officer of the Federation and your team to achieve your goals in restoring internal security and peace to our country, Nigeria.
Acting President Yemi Osinbajo has sworn in 5 new commissioners of the National Population Commission (NPC). The swearing-in of the commissioners followed their successful screening by the Nigerian Senate on December 12, 2016, after their nomination by President Muhammadu Buhari. The appointment of the commissioners was also endorsed by the National Council of State last year. Those sworn in are Benedict Ukpong, representing Akwa Ibom State, Gloria Izonfu, who is from Bayelsa State, Kupchi Inyanya, representing Benue State, and Haliru Bala, representing Kebbi, as well as Eyitayo Oyetunji, representing Oyo State. Former governor of Delta State James Ibori, who was recently released from a UK prison where he served a jail term for corruption, has indicated his plan to rejoin politics upon his return to Nigeria. Ibori, who ruled the oil-rich state between 1999 and 2007, says he would not quit politics until his death. Ibori, however, says he would not contest any elective position again because he had been barred for 10 years because of his conviction. He also gave indications that he would appeal against the UK conviction.
Corruption not in my country.
Hello, Alahaji. Right now I'm in Abuja. No. Hello, Adamu. Right now I'm in Kano. Yes. When I get back, I will just call you. Look, what is wrong with you? I'm talking on the phone and you are gesticulating and doing. What's wrong with you?
Daddy, where exactly are we as we speak?
Are you alright? This is Lagos.
Well, you just lied to someone that we're in Abuja.
Keep quiet. Who told you you can tell an elderly person is lying?
Daddy, you just lied. And by lying, you're raising corrupt children for the future of Nigeria. That is corruption, not in my country.
Corruption not in my country.
Welcome back. Up next is business. Fidelia has all the latest. The Central Bank of Nigeria says deposit money banks who borrow without adequate security will be suspended from the window for 8 weeks. In a circular released on Wednesday, the CBN announced new rules on how banks can borrow cash from fellow banks or the CBN to cover their temporary shortfalls or meet their obligations. The regulator said that any commercial banks that fail to comply with the new directives will be suspended from its window for 8 weeks. The Kaduna Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Mine and Agriculture says government and the private sector need to fine-tune the public-private partnership scheme in order to achieve a better result. The chairman organizing committee for the 38th edition of the Chamber's International Trade Fair, Suleiman Aliyu, explained that both the public and the private sector need to complement all efforts towards the restructuring the economy that has been facing a number of challenges.
This theme was deliberately chosen to reckon with current realities on ground. It intends to appreciate and complement government efforts towards restructuring of the Nigerian economy that has been facing a number of challenges due to dwindling resources. It is our belief that promoting public-private partnership will go a long way in reducing the addiction on oil and gas by the federal government as the major source of revenue for developmental programs in Nigeria. As we are all aware, Nigeria has huge infrastructural challenges. Recent reports suggest that the country requires between $12 to $15 billion annually for the next 6 years to meet its infrastructural requirements. It has become evident that the government alone cannot muster the resources, that is finance and expertise, to meet this need. Hence, the involvement of the private sector is not just desirous, but necessary.
On the issue of security challenges facing the state, the Cardinal Chairman maintained that all parameters have been put in place to ensure a hitch-free trade fair for the duration of 10 days.
That we have is on top of the whole thing. It's actually working towards more security aspects in Cardinal States. And just the way you mentioned earlier on, the negative publicity. When something happens, it's just in the flat. They do as if it's the whole state. So actually, Cardinal is very, very safe.
The US has not been participating at our trade fair. One, for quite some time because of the sanctions on the then administration. Then later on, they claim, for security. But it will interest you to hear that after such a very long time, they are coming this year. That is one. Number two, for quite some time, Pakistan has never been participating. But this time around, they are coming with some companies. Korea, they do participate, they alternate, but this time around also they are coming.
Oil prices rose on Thursday as evidence that OPEC and other big exporters were cutting production outweighed a sharp rise in US crude and gasoline stockpiles. Brent crude futures fell 20 cents to $57.60 a barrel, while US crude was seen trading at $54.62 a barrel. Prices were bolstered by indications that OPEC producers are curbing output.
Corruption not in my country.
What is wrong with you? Man saying no? Said I drew for more than 1 hour.
Yeah, me. Ọ̀rọ̀ yín náà ni mò ń ṣe. Ọ̀rọ̀ yín náà ni mò ń ṣe. Ká kúrò fún Ọlọ́run. Ká satisfy yín níbi ọ̀rọ̀ yín náà ni mò ń ṣe.
Ẹ wo jẹ́ ká lọ jàre. Ká kúrò nbi báyìí.
Ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ẹ má bínú. Hello ọ̀gá. Màá dọ́dọ̀ yín lẹ́sẹ̀ I'm assure you 5 minutes. Màá dọ́dọ̀ yín ẹ gbà bẹ́ẹ̀.
You are deceiving another customer just like you deceived us.
The same way he deceived us.
Eh? Why?
Ètò ni iṣẹ́ yìí. Bó o bá kúrò ò lè jẹun, ò lè jẹun. Bó o bá kúrò ò lè jẹun ìyá mi. Bó o bá kúrò ò lè jẹun. Workshop mi lélẹ́yìí. Ibi tí èèyàn bá ti ń ṣe ló ti ń jẹ. Ìyẹn ló ń pè ní workshop. Ibi tó bá ti ń work ni kó má ti shop.
You cannot base your business on lies. Calm down now. It is corruption and it cannot work. Not in my country.
Corruption not in my country.
Five Libyan soldiers were killed in clashes with Islamist-led rivals holed up on the edge of a recently captured district of Benghazi. Forces loyal to Khalifa Haftar, head of the eastern-based Libyan National Army, have been fighting Islamists and other opponents in the Benghazi since 2014. They have secured most of the city but have suffered heavy casualties as they try to gain control of a few areas. Supporters of Etienne Tshisekedi, the Democratic Republic of Congo's veteran opposition leader, have gathered in the capital Kinshasa to express their shock at his death. The 84-year-old died in Belgium, where he went last week for medical checkup. A prominent opponent of the successive leaders, he was due to head a transitional council under a deal for President Joseph Kabila to step down from office. The country's information minister has said he would be given a state funeral. African women table tennis champion Funke Oshonaike climbed up 20 places in the current ranking released by the International Table Tennis Federation. Oshonaike moved up from the 210th position she occupied in January to 190th position. The current rankings make Oshonaike the second best female player on the continent, behind Egypt's Dina Mesref, who is ranked 100th. Meanwhile, Nigeria's Aruna Quadri dropped a spot in the rankings after his quarterfinal exit at the IWTF World Tour in the Hungarian Open in January. Egypt has moved up one step closer to the record African title. The team defeated Burkina Faso 4-3 on penalties to qualify for the 2017 African Cup of Nations final. The game had, however, gone to penalties after both sides played out a tension-filled 1-1 draw in 120 minutes of football. The Egyptians will play the winner of the second semi-final between Cameroon and Ghana in the final on Sunday. The Pharaohs will be playing in their 8th final and have only finished as runners-up once, which was in 1962. Usain Bolt has ruled out competing at the 2018 Commonwealth Games in Australia. The 30-year-old, who is in Australia to compete at the inaugural Nitro Athletic Series, told reporters in Melbourne he has no plans to return to the country next year. The 8-time Olympic gold medalist has reportedly insisted he will retire after the 2017 World Athletics Championship in London. He had 9 gold medals from his previous 3 Olympic tournaments at Beijing 2008, London 2012 and Rio 2016. However, his triple-triple dream was cut short when he lost one of his 9 gold medals owing to a retest of a drug sample of one of his 4x100 relay teammates just recently. That's all we have on News Now. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Thelma Okoro.